Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. I want to welcome everyone to our webinar. A special welcome goes for new people. And this is the webinar where we're trying to make a plan for the week. So what we do, we discuss a little bit about the week just finished, and we try to see what's waiting for us in the upcoming week. Few things about myself. This is me, Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. My overall experience in trading is over 23 years. I started as a prop trader in New York City. And after doing that for 11 years, I moved into mentoring and educating. And of course, I never stopped trading. I think it's my biggest passion. And currently, I'm very happy that I have an opportunity to assist our customers at AvaTrade. So the agenda of the webinar is pretty much the same every week. We talk about indices, stocks, commodities, forex, or currencies. Also, we speak a little bit about fundamentals. What's the big picture? What's happening in the world? We talk about economic calendar, what's waiting for us as far as the announcements, and so on. Risk warning, you can find a full statement at avatrade.com website. What we do here, it's purely educational. Here are the channels that I highly recommend for you to follow. You have Telegram, you have Twitter or X, it's called now, and you have a YouTube channel, which I always say it's my favorite. You have a lot of tutorials, a lot of educational material. You have webinars. If you miss or if you know that you're going to miss the webinar, don't worry. The webinars are being posted on YouTube. So whenever you have time, you can watch it and use the information. Before we go further, just want to give a little bit of summary what we're going to be talking today about. We'll talk about indices, especially the U.S. indices. We'll do a little bit of a summary what happened last week. We talk about a few events that happened. We'll talk about a few specific stocks that includes Tesla, Microsoft, Walmart, Cisco, Intel, Apple, the bank sector stocks. We'll talk about commodities that includes metals, energy, and others. We'll talk about forex. We'll start with dollar index, and then we'll go. Today, I want to be focusing and going through all major currencies and see what's been happening lately, and see potential moves. Yen, we'll take a look at yen specifically, as yen it looks like it's regaining its strength. And that's it pretty much. That's what we're going to be doing today, and we'll do it in details. Now, what happened last week? Okay, on Friday, one of the biggest things actually, that it's a second Friday in a row. The previous Friday, we got a surprise by Moody's when they downgraded the credit of the U.S. And this Friday, we had interesting news that CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, is being pushed out, and the board members are saying that somehow he's not fit for the position, and temporarily he was replaced by Myra Murati. And it reacted, I mean, the market reacted, especially the Microsoft reacted to it. The stock was down, as Microsoft is the earliest and the biggest investor in the OpenAI. So I was just researching a little bit, and it looks like the shareholders are pushing to bring Sam Altman back. I guess we're going to be hearing more in the upcoming week about these things. Also, what happened, we pretty much had a flat day on indices. US indices finished Friday flat, but had great results. So we'll be taking a look at numbers when we get there. And this is the screenshot of an article that I found on MarketWatch. You can read an article. It goes into details. You can read the whole article. So before I forget, very, very important, this is the week of Thanksgiving. It's, I think, the most troubled week in the US. As you know, the families in the US get together and have nice dinner and having nice reunions. People are traveling. But why am I mentioning? The market will be closed on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday. So equity and bond markets will be closed for the celebration of Thanksgiving. And on NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, the following day on Friday will be a short session, and they will finish at 1 p.m. instead of 4 p.m. And US bond market will be closing at 2 p.m. on Friday. So Thursday, no trading in US market, and Friday, the exchanges are trading on the short day schedule. So very important. So if you're planning on trading on Friday, be prepared on the earlier closing for the stocks. So this is something to notice and to keep in mind. Now, economic calendar. I just want to mention, especially for new people, what I do here, I take out the high impact events only. There's much more. You can filter it through. You can choose what's relevant for your trading. And also, some people are not sure if it's important to know about these things. So again, you're free to do whatever you like, but I think it's important, if you're a trader, important to be aware ahead of time of certain things that are happening. So you can either make decisions, place the trades, or the opposite, do nothing and wait. It's up to you. So Monday, we have Governor of Bank of England speaking. We have Governor of Bank of Australia speaking. Tuesday, we have interesting events. We have meeting minutes from Australia on their last rate decision, and the same thing we have on FOMC minutes as well. Very important. Market usually reacts to it. Also, we have CPI numbers from Canada on the same day. Wednesday, we have Governor of Bank of Australia speaking again, monetary policy report from Bank of England, and again, Governor of Bank of Canada speaking. A lot of speeches from the bankers. Interesting. Thursday, we have PMI numbers from Germany and from European Union. We have also PMI numbers from UK and retail sales from New Zealand. And manufacturing and service PMIs from US are on Friday. So these are the events. Again, just to remind us, these are just high impact events. There's more, and you can find them. You have economic calendar on our web trader or the app. Also, you can find it on third-party providers. You can filter through whatever it's relevant for you. Okay, so let's go to the trading platform, and we start, as I mentioned to you, with US indices. Friday was a flat day for all of them, pretty much. This is Dow Jones. Pretty much flat on the day. Now here, we're looking at futures. The numbers that I'll be giving to you, these are the numbers on the cash indices. So don't get confused. Here we have a little bit of a loss on the futures though. So the indices, okay, not the futures, but the indices, the cash indices. So Dow Jones was flat pretty much on Friday, but it gained 1.9% on the week, as you could see here. And according to analysts, the Dow Jones gained 7.8% in the past 3 weeks. As we could see, it was a big move to the upside. And according to them, it's the largest 3-week gain since November 11, 2022. I guess it was right here. So this was the biggest one. This is the second biggest since November of 2022. Good to know. Now, what happened here? We moved higher, and then we kind of were flat for a moment. S&P 500 also rose 0.1%, pretty much flat, 2.2% on the week. Also, a nice 3-week move that added 9.6% and is the best week for S&P since June 2022. Let's see what that is. I guess right here. Yep. Okay, so that's on S&Ps again in 3 weeks added 9.6%. Big move. Nasdaq, the same thing. It rose on Friday only 0.1%, and on the week it rose 2.4%. And the biggest 3-week gain since April 24th of 2020. Interesting. Let's take a look. I guess right here. Okay, so all 3 indices nice gains. Now, if you take a look currently, it looks like all of them facing serious levels of resistance. Right here, this is for Dove. Right here, after the spike back in September, we sold. And as you could see here on Friday, we did spike above it, but closed lower. Now we're talking about our CFD futures here on our charts, right? So here, it's clearly we're facing some kind of resistance. Will it hold? Will we break through it? I guess the upcoming week will show. S&P 500 as well, we are facing this resistance around here, around 4,500 plus minus. And Nasdaq, as you could see here, we're facing a higher resistance. This is a resistance from end of July on the daily chart. And as you could see here, this past week on Wednesday, we tried to break through. We actually, wow, this is interesting. We tried to challenge this level of mid-July when the high was 16,061.25, and we were a little bit shy, maybe 15, 16 points shy of that level, but we did try. So also we currently facing resistance of end of July here at the current levels. So let's see how this week will play for the US indices. If you take a look at the German index, it's very strong, and it's also approaching the level where we couldn't break on the 3 previous occasions. We were fighting this in beginning of August, then again the end of August, and then mid-September. And then we sold, made a lower low here, and we had a really intense and strong vertical recovery here. So the question is, when we challenge, or if we challenge 16,000 area, what's going to happen next? So that's on Germany. UK, not as strong as German index. We had a huge sell-off here, and we're slowly trying to recover, and we are approaching the 50-day moving average here on UK index. So let's see. We have a few things, as we mentioned, on economic calendar, and that includes the FOMC minutes, and market will be really watching and listening to that, and then making a move. So that's as far as indices. Let's take a look really quickly at stocks, and we'll start with Tesla. Very controversial company, as you know. A lot of times, little things like tweeting by Elon Musk has been affecting the stock. And it looks like, again, he was posting few things last week. And there was a lot of talks in the media about it. Also, a lot of talks about Tesla stock being the most shorted stock. I don't know how true that is, but there's information floating that there's a lot of shorts on Tesla. As you could see here, after selling and reaching the 19, what's that, 194, 190 something levels. We had a nice recovery. We did close the gap this past week on Wednesday, and then we are trading at 234. Now, just to remind us, the 240 level was the key level for a while. There was holding, so we are below that level, and let's see how this information about the shorts will happen. It could add more pessimism to it, or sometimes if the short interest is huge, we could see something that short squeeze rally, it's being called, that some traders might take advantage of a lot of shorts and push the stock high and trigger short sellers covering the positions. So we'll see, but definitely something is happening there. Now, Microsoft, as I mentioned to you on this firing of CEO of OpenAI, Microsoft sold on Friday, and definitely the stock will be affected in the upcoming week. As I mentioned, the shareholders are trying to push to reinstate him in his position. So you could see here, technically speaking, we're at the high of 366.57 right here, and it looks like we are holding this level so far. And if this pessimistic OpenAI news continue and they'll continue affecting Microsoft, we could actually retest this level again and possibly break below. And of course, it will depend on the general market situation as well. So that's on Microsoft. Walmart, if you remember, Target had the opposite scenario. The earnings were great and the Target stock went higher. So everybody was expecting Walmart to do the same, but here was the opposite scenario. The earnings were not so great. The outlook was not so great. The stock gapped down, and they announced it on Thursday, I think, before the market opened. The stock closed lower, and Friday we went lower again. So Walmart, it doesn't look that great. Same thing for Cisco, the tech company, reported not such a great earnings, and also the projections were not so great. The stock gapped down, but moved higher a little bit. But Friday was a negative day again. Now Intel, it makes me very happy when you see these things. If you remember when Intel gapped up and continued on the falling market, one of the webinars I mentioned that this is very important. On the falling market, the stock was going up and not really paying attention to falling market or sell-off on the market. And I mentioned to you that these are very important details to watch, something they call relative strength. So I said when the market turns around, Intel could be the first stock running, and take a look what Intel did since then. A small consolidation or correction here and vertical to the upside. Take a look. And currently we are approaching this level of possible resistance at the current levels around $44. Take a look, a beautiful move to the upside. So I guess good fundamentals and the buyers are there. The stock is really moving higher. So we'll be watching of continuation. And here we are above all the moving average. If you move to weekly chart, we are approaching the 200-week moving average here. And again, we are approaching the resistance around $44 here, $44, $45. So also we could be facing resistance and possible correction around these levels. Apple stock, as you could see here, we are retesting the previous level of resistance from which was sold, and that was beginning of September. The high here was 189.87, almost 190. As you could see here, on Thursday we broke that level. We went to 190.84, but closed lower. And the high on Friday was 190.26, but we did close below again. So it looks like 190 level. on Apple, it's representing a resistance here. So let's see how this week again plays out for Apple stock. Now, banking sector, since just to remind us, since the latest CPI numbers and a lot of excitement on the street about the Fed's not increasing rates anymore, which is not solid anyway, anything could happen. But the mood is that the Feds are done. So the banking sector had a nice run since then. Let's take a look. As you could see here, JP Morgan is leading. And guess what? We are facing a resistance here from mid-October with the high of 153 and a penny. We are approaching that level. So nice recovery. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs as well, and kind of stuck at the current level. Bank of America as well. So across the sector, the banking sector shows nice recovery here, but it looks like in most of the stocks we are facing either resistance or serious levels here. You have a 200 moving average here, right here, and also facing levels of resistance. So we'll be watching, definitely watching the banking sector, and especially we'll be watching at the announcement of FOMC minutes this week. So that's as far as stocks. One more thing is NVIDIA, which is the leader in the chip business that is focusing a lot on AI technology, is reporting on Tuesday after the market. So we'll be watching that as well. Now let's move to commodities. And we'll start with metals. Here's gold. Guess what? We're back at our level here around 1983, 1984. As you could see here, it was a resistance for a very long time. And then we broke through it, but then we dipped right below. So again, after a nice move to the upside from the recent lows, we are facing the resistance around 1983, 1984 levels. Let's see how this week plays for it. Now, platinum and palladium, they've been really beaten up, and this week they had a nice recovery. The whole week, pretty much in recoveries. Just to show you, I'll bring the weekly chart. This is your platinum, closing almost at the high of the week. Palladium as well, but as you could see, both commodities were beaten up seriously here. So let's see if this move was the beginning of reversal, or is it a temporary recovery before continuation to the downside. So this is your platinum, and palladium, as you could see, is the weakest. Just to show you a big picture here, it's a huge sell-off until we came to the current levels of a possible reversal. And on the daily chart, again, as you could see here, we did have a nice recovery. Every day was a green day this week. So let's see if we are continuing. We might be facing resistance here around 1129, 1130, and we'll also be facing the 50-day moving average there. Let's see what happens in palladium. Oil. Oil had nice recovery on Friday after hitting Thursday lows. We're at 72.15. Let's take a look at weekly chart. Anything special here? No. So we are below all moving averages here on the daily chart, and this was a bounce after the 3 straight days to the downside. Again, the fear, mostly the opposite of what was here. This was a fear of shortage of supply, and all this move down is a fear of shortage of demand, and I think mostly it's being affected by China. I forgot to mention this. China is not doing great. This past week, we had, I think on Wednesday, we had the meeting between Chinese and US leaders, and everybody was hoping to some outcomes from it, but the very next day on Thursday, we had a sell-off on Chinese market. So I guess nothing exciting came out of it. So going back to oil, Oil's been suffering a lot, and this is a bounce on Friday. Let's see how this week continues. Natural gas as well didn't have a great week. We did break the $3 support, and on Friday we hit the low of 289.4, and a penny short of this previous support from which we bounced, and that was 288. So scenario number one, if we come and retest 288 and hold it, we might see the bounce to the upside. If we break through it and start building resistance below 288, we might continue lower and maybe even look for the reaction of a 200 moving average here. But so far we did bounce off of 100 moving average, and we are holding the 288 level. So that's on natural gas. We spoke about cocoa last week, I believe. The commodity has been super strong, and fundamentally speaking, the main reason is the shortage of supply, and Ivory Coast is the biggest supplier, and because of the weather and other reasons, they are predicting shortage. So the commodity is super strong. I think we're there. I was doing a little bit of research. I think we're at the levels of 1979. Technically speaking, here we had the high on the 14th of 4,123, and I think we should be watching that number. If we do break above it, we might continue running, and it's simple fundamentals here, so it's hard to predict the reaction on the technical part, because if you have a shortage, you have a shortage, and cocoa is needed in making chocolate, and a lot of people like chocolate. Sorry for my simplicity here, but we might continue running on cocoa or not. So I guess this recent high of 41.23 will be showing us what's next. Okay, that's as far as commodities. And you know what? We forgot one more thing: copper. Copper is actually acting a little bit strong despite of the weakness of Chinese index. We are above the 100 moving average here, and let's see what's waiting for us in copper. As you could see here, we did not come to retest this recent low of 354, 355. Instead, we established kind of a new support, because you could say this is the new support as we made a higher high from here. So the low of 357.90 was retested here by 357.80 briefly, but closing higher. So we could try to move our support to around here, 358. And let's see if we're managing to bounce from here. It's showing, definitely showing a little bit of a strength. Again, the definition of the strength or possible reversal of the trend, higher highs, higher lows. So we just had a higher high followed by the higher low and the higher high. So we could be seeing some moves to the upside. I think the first obstacle would be the 200 moving average here, which is currently at 378. So that's as far as copper. Okay, Forex, we'll start with dollar index. Dollar index broke through our solid 104 level. Why solid? We had a lot of actions here, resistance, and then we confirmed a strong support here on a few occasions, and we moved higher to almost 107, or we did hit 107, almost right here, 106.96. So we did break and closed below 104. We're between 100 and a 200 moving average. And let's see again, this week's FOMC meeting minutes could add more clarity or direction to the Fed's action, and that in return will definitely be affecting some assets, and dollar index it's one of them. So we'll be watching what's next. Anyway, we did close below this strong sell-off that we had on the 14th when we had 103.82. We closed at 103.66. So possibly moving lower here. Now, as I promised, I want to go through majors. We didn't go in details through them for a while. So as you could see here, pound dollar, we did hit the resistance here, as you could see. And even though the dollar broke through that support, the pound dollar didn't break through the resistance. So if dollar continues weakness, we could come and retest this 125 level and possibly break through it. And that would be also a 200 moving average on the pound. Euro dollar, as you could see, we did break through that 14th level and closed at the high. So it's kind of a mirror image of a dollar index, and we are on the way of possibly retesting these highs here from which was sold. So on euro dollar, the high of 109.45 could be the next level to retest, and that's about 35 pips from the closing price on Friday. USDCAD, we are above all the averages still, and the main reason probably, I'm not going to say the main reason, but the big reason is the weakness of the oil is translating into the weakness of Canadian dollar. So US dollar is still strong against Canadian dollar, even though we had some sell-offs here. Australian dollar is really, really trying to break through these levels here. This is very important. As you could see here, we had few attempts here on mid-August, then again end of August, then again beginning of November, and then we did break through it but closed below on the 15th of November, and we had a very strong closing on Friday. So we are probably facing another attempt to break through this 0.6520 level. And if we are, the next checkpoint is 200 moving average, was about 40 pips high at 0.6565. So that's on Australian dollar. New Zealand dollar is looking a little bit weaker than Australian. We did have a nice try, and then Thursday was a sell-off, and we are a little bit far off retesting this recent high. As you could see here, similar support back in June, then few attempts to break, and then we tried again on the 15th and we sold. So if New Zealand dollar is moving higher first, you would need to test this level around 0.6050 and see if we break through it. Swiss franc, USD CHF, we just broke with that fall on the 14th. We just broke through the previous support right here, so you could see, and we are trading below. So there is a possibility of continuation to the downside. We are below all three moving averages here. Swiss franc remains strong, and of course, we might continue lower on this pair. Now, Japanese yen, I purposely left it for the last of the majors. Japanese yen is trying to regain its strength. As you could see here, we did have a retest that I mentioned to you last week. The high of the end of October with 151.71 was retested this week, and that was on the 13th. And we did close 7 pips lower, so we didn't manage to close higher. And of course, with the weakness of US dollar, we start sliding, and this is the first time in a very long time since August that we did close below the 50 moving average here. So this could be a beginning of that reversal for USDJPY. Of course, it's a two sides. It could be that Japanese yen continues to regain strength, and the dollar might continue sliding. So this move could get more intense, and we could see a nice drop here. Now, just to show you that it's not only about the dollar, if you take a look at all the major currencies against Japanese yen, in the past couple of days, they've been selling. This is Euro JPY, this is Pound JPY, 3 sessions with the sell-off. CAD JPY, significant sell-off here. Aussie JPY as well, and New Zealand JPY as well. So as you could see, that a strength of a yen is not just against the weak US dollar, but against across the board. CHF JPY, this is something that I've been talking about for a while as well. We're really selling here, and let's see if this move get a little bit of the power to moving lower, or we might be facing continuation to the upside. Just to show you, this pair has been super strong here. Okay, so that's as far as forex. You know what? I just want to show you these two pairs. We've been talking about it a while ago. This is the Swedish krona, and we came to this level on EURUSD, facing this spike that we had back in March of 2020, and it looks like we're holding it for now. And the same thing, we are at the same situation with USDCAD. So it looks like this month was strong for Swedish krona. Let's see if we're holding this level and continue on the weakness of Swedish krona, or we finally could break through it and continue the strength of Swedish krona against euro and US dollar. Okay, and that's it pretty much with forex. And let's just take a quick look at Bitcoin. This latest strong move to the upside on the 15th. And just to remind us, it's fundamentally connected to the new ETFs supposed to be coming out. The whole thing started here on the rumors and then continue on the facts. And that we had a nice move reaching 38,000, I believe, briefly. 37,953 on the 15th. And then followed with a sell-off the very next day. And we're currently right in the middle of that strong bar of the 15th. So let's see how crypto news will develop and how they will affect the cryptocurrencies. Okay, so again, I just want to ask you to, if you are watching this on YouTube especially, please subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Click on that bell to be notified. Share with people. Write your comments. Very important. If you have comments, if you have anything to say, I'll be happy to hear from you. And in a few words about what we spoke about. First of all, again, a reminder, Thursday, US market is closed, and Friday is a short session. We have a few important events. I think the most important is the FOMC minutes from the last meeting. And we have NVIDIA reporting this week, which is significant for the markets. Tesla, we'll be watching new developments on the CEO being pushed by the board of OpenAI. And we are really at the point of possible resistance on the equity markets across the board on the indices. So if we have some encouraging news, we might move higher. If the opposite happens, we could sell off from these levels. And I want to wish everyone a great weekend. You still have some left. And have a great, productive, and positive week. Stay happy, stay safe, and all the best. We'll be back next week.